Oh, start here. Okay, so good afternoon everybody. Today's topic is, I'll say that nothing too much, right? So it is going to be just we will be applying our common sense, nothing more than that. So let me give you a brief description. Is that Newton's Third Principia, and that book probably hardly found in most of the library, rather they are kept in archive because it is mostly geometry based. Newton's approach was absolutely geometry based, and today's lecture we will be trying to apply the calculus in an effective way. So for that I have chosen a simple problem, that is a simple pendulum. Let's say you have chosen a simple pendulum and it is going to oscillate like this. So its length is L and it is undergoing a planar motion. But we are going to say that this theta is not small. Theta is a finite angle and we are choosing xy coordinate system. So the pendulum bob is having the coordinate of x and y. Now if I am going to find out the position vector is going to be xi minus yj. Now let us calculate the degrees of freedom. So as we have chosen x and y, so I am going to take 2, and there exists one constant, and that constant is square root of x square plus y square is going to be the length of that string. So equation of motion is going to be 1 as there is the degrees of freedom 1. So it means that you are going to get only one equation of motion and you are going to solve it, that equation of motion. By solving it, you are going to get the position and velocity of this bob, and that is what is the objective of studying the course dynamics. Now let's say that instead of choosing xy as our generalized coordinate, or rather I will not be choosing to x and y, I will not be keeping the xy coordinate system because they are related with a certain constant. So it is not convenient, very convenient, easy to deal with this constant. Rather, we are going to use theta as our generalized coordinate. I think you are striking that what is generalized coordinate. Okay, so let me tell you in simple word. The generalized coordinate is nothing but the coordinate which is representing the degrees of freedom. Okay, so over here theta, you are going to get only the angular motion, and we are using theta as our generalized coordinate to represent the degrees of freedom. Now I have drawn two diagrams in front of you. One is the force. So what you have is the tension in the string. Next, the mg force. Is there any other force acting on the bob? No. So there is no other force which is acting on the bob. Now, if you are going to go for the acceleration term, you are going to get two accelerations. One is the centripetal acceleration, L theta dot cos square, and L theta double dot. Now how you are going to get the equation of motion from Newton's second law? We will be just equating them by multiplying this acceleration term with mass m. So let's say the bob is having the mass of m. We will be just multiplying it with a mass m, and you are going to equate them. After multiplying with mass m, you are going to equate with it, with the force. So you will be getting the equation of motion. But this method is nothing but the Newtonian method when you are using the help of geometry. But instead of taking the help of geometry, we can move conveniently to get the equation of motion first. Now look carefully that this T force or the tension force is the force of constant. It is the force of constant. That means if your velocity is going to go increase, the tension is going to go increase. If the mass is going to go increase, the tension is going to go increase. But it is going to keep the length of the pendulum same. Now we will be applying just a simple common sense, and before that we will be just going through a simple calculus ideas, and those calculus is, I think you have studied. Just a background. As a background study will be going for. So if I am going to write dy by dx, it means that y is a function of x, and you got a curve like this. This is your dependent variable, and you got a curve. Now if I am going to write del y del x, what does it mean? It means the partial derivative of y with respect to x. What does it mean? It means that it is implying that y is a function of x, and with there exists another function. Let's say y is a function of both x and z. So what you are going to get, instead of one dependent variable, you are having two. So it is going to be, your y is the dependent variable. So let's say it is y, and this is x, and this is z, and you are going to get a surface. You are going to get a surface. Let's denote it through a surface, right? So if I want to know the differential, in this case the differential of y, so it is going to be del y del x dx plus del y del z dz. Now I am going to just introduce another differential. And that differential is variational differential. What is that? Okay, so it's basically the applying the method of least action. So we'll be coming these jargon terms later on. Let us not to lose our spirit, but to understand the essence of it. So this is called the variational calculus, another branch of the calculus, and it is called as the del of y and variational of y. So over here, what we are going to do is that we will be applying this calculus concept to solve this problem, to bypass Newton's second law. So before going into this topic of the alternative route, let me ask you a simple question. That simple question is, what is equilibrium? What is an equilibrium? Okay, you please think and tell me, what is an equilibrium? Is the pendulum in equilibrium? In this case, so I want the general definition of equilibrium. So you think a bit and reply me, what is an equilibrium? Yeah, you think. Yeah, I think you are thinking in a very complicated languages, generalized coordinate, degrees of freedom, all these things. But please, don't make it complicated. It is absolutely simple. Okay, so if you are thinking complicated way, then I am going to refer to your that movie. I think all of you have seen it, 3 Idiots, the definition of machine. So it's not that complicated. The equilibrium is, yes, it is just the equal. Something is equal to something. Then it is in the equilibrium. Otherwise, it is not in the equilibrium. So I am not going to use this sign or that sign. Okay? So this means the equilibrium. Equality means the equilibrium. And which are in equilibrium for any dynamical case? F is equal to ma. Okay? So the pendulum is in dynamic equilibrium. Now, so our objective is to get that dynamical equilibrium. In order to get the dynamical equilibrium, what I am going to do is that I am going to freeze the time. That means at any instant of time, the force on the bob is equal to the mass time acceleration of the bob. That is what is the dynamical equilibrium is talking about. If I am going to write F minus ma is equal to 0, will you mind? That is also definition of the equilibrium. Okay? Look carefully. This is also the definition of equilibrium. And not only that, in special case, when there is no motion, no acceleration, then F is going to be 0, which you have studied at static case in your previous semester. So all these things are to be represented as a vector, and that is what we are doing. Suppose I miss it, but keep in mind that all these quantities we are talking about in a vectorial form. Now in this dynamical equilibrium, think about, just let's say this is the joint, and this is attached over here, the string is attached, and let's say this is the pendulum bob, and it is going to move swinging like this. Okay, so you have taken a snapshot of the pendulum, let's say this, placed over here, and at this position what you are trying to do is that you are calculating the forces and the accelerations, and you are equating the force is equal to mass times acceleration, and that is what you are deriving as dynamic equilibrium. Now you think that in this equilibrium, if I disturb that equilibrium a bit by an amount delta, okay, then that disturbance, due to that disturbance, whatever the work that you are going to do is going to be 0. Okay, sure? Are you understanding? Now, what is that? Now let's give an example of a simple, just a single degree of freedom system, or this equation. Let's say I have but please keep in mind that we have to respect the constant. So this part is going to respect the constant. Respect or honor the constant. For simple example, what I cannot do is that I cannot change this length. This length is the constant. I cannot violate it. But where I am going to give the small perturbation of this, I am going to give it to the generalized coordinate, or along the degrees of freedom on which the body is going to move, is free to move. Okay? So in this case, I will be moving, shifting towards along the theta. Okay? Now let us do this in a simple exercise, with a simple exercise of this simple pendulum. Then after that we will be generalizing it. let's denote that this is my F, this is my F, and this is my constant forces. So let's denote that this mg is to be the F, right? And the constant forces will be deriving it as M. Okay? Minus of M A is going to be 0. This is what is the general equation of motion. All these are in the vector form. Look carefully. This force is what? When you are equating them, you are going to take T, that is represented as a internal term as N, right? And this and this force is the mg external force. The force of the constant is equal to minus m times acceleration is going to be 0. Now you are going to give a small disturbance to it, keeping in mind this equation F plus N minus ma times delta R is going to be 0. Why? Because this term is 0, not this term is going to be 0. I am just illustrating for a single mass. For a single mass like the pendulum. Okay? So for the single mass, this is going to be the equation of motion. Do you agree? Now if this is what is the equation of motion, or rather the work done equation, look carefully over here, the dot product is to be there, dot is to be there. So if you are going to do it, then you are going to get F minus ma dot delta R is equal to 0 because N dot delta R is equal to 0. Why it is so? N dot delta R is going to be 0. N is the force of the constant. Look carefully that this force is not going to do any work in the direction of motion. They are absolutely perpendicular, and that is what exactly going to happen to any constant force, any force of the constant. So they are going to do the no work. So essentially you are going to get F minus ma dot delta R, R is a vector, is going to be 0. And this is what is the principle of virtual work. Look over here, I have not used any geometrical sense. Rather, to illustrate this whole concept, I took certain help of the geometry. Right? Now let us come to the problem of n number of particles. For n number of particles, what we can write is that, say suppose a body is consisting of n number of particles. For that, what we can write, this is called the principle of virtual work, as summation of, let's say I is equal to 1 to small n Fi vector minus mi, the ith mass, acceleration of the ith mass, dot delta Ri is the generalized displacement, R is the position vector of that, and you are given the generalized displacement of, with the virtual displacement of delta Ri is going to be 0. Okay, look carefully that this is the position vector. Now you recall back our whole the previous, which we have erased in the blackboard, that we represented the position vector of that part, and this, look carefully that this AI can be represented as AI is going to be represented as Ri ka double dot. So it can be replaced as that of Ri double dot, the position vector, and you are going to get the acceleration out of it. So this total work done is 0 because it is in dynamic equilibrium. F is equal to minus AI. Okay. Now we are going to see, illustrate this the whole thing in the case of a pendulum. So with this, we'll be going towards the derivation of equation through the virtual work of a pendulum. So for the pendulum, you have mg force. I don't bother about the force of the constant, and what I am going to give the virtual displacement, and this is what is my acceleration direction and along E theta. So it is going to be L theta double dot, and along this I have given a virtual displacement, let's say a virtual displacement along this, let's say this is what is my virtual displacement, and this virtual displacement amount is R delta theta. Okay, and by the geometry, this angle is theta, or rather you can make that this is going like this is the angle theta. So what shall I write? Work done by the external force. So as you understand that we have made the coordinates as x and y like this. So I am going to write mg minus mg j comma dot L delta theta along E theta. Agree? This is the work done by the external force. I don't care about the constant force. Okay? I am not dissecting this body. Let it be there. This is what is my constant. I am going to move along the generalized coordinate or along the degrees of freedom. So this is what is my theta direction. Okay? Now plus minus of the mass times acceleration, minus of m L theta dot along E theta is the minus mass times acceleration whole dot, what is that? L delta theta E theta is going to be 0. Okay. Now let us solve this part. So it is going to be minus m L G, it is between J and this, so it is going to be actually this angle, so it is going to be cos of 90 degree plus theta, and this part is going to be straight minus m L square theta double dot and multiplied by delta theta. Oh, okay. Just a minute, it is not done. Over here, that delta theta is going to be there. delta theta minus m L square theta double dot delta theta is going to be 0. Okay, so next step is, let's take square bracket minus m L square theta double dot plus m L G okay, now minus is not going to be there. Minus is not going to be there because we have already taken the geometrical sign. Otherwise it is going to be opposite, cos of 90 degree minus theta if I am going to choose. So minus is going not to be there, it is going to take care about the minus. So mlg sin theta is equal to 0. Not. Delta theta is going to be 0, and which leads to m L square theta double dot plus m L G sin theta is equal to 0, as delta theta is arbitrary and non-zero. So if you just cancel out m this L and this L, you are going to get the equation of motion as let us erase this part. L theta double dot plus G sin theta is equal to 0. Now this is what is the equation of motion of a pendulum for any finite amount of displacement. Now if theta is small, then you know that you can write it as theta double dot plus G by L theta is going to be 0. And we are going to get, from there we are going to get an oscillating motion, and that is the isochronous. It means that, isochronous means that whatever the displacement you are going to give, initial displacement it is going to give, its period of oscillation is not going to change. And that is why pendulum is one of the method was used from the ancient times to measure the time. It is not going to change the period of oscillation, irrespective of the amplitude that you are giving. But the thing is that it has to be small. You cannot give 30 degree, 40 degree, then it becomes the nonlinear differential equation. So you understand that this becomes a nonlinear differential equation and this becomes a linear differential equation for small angle theta. So it becomes the isochronous. So this equation is isochronous equation, and you are going to get the equation of motion. But have you ever thought that have I used any geometry over here in this in order to solve this problem? I have not used any geometry. I have not used any single geometry. Just I have used our previously discussed ideas of degrees of freedom, and with that idea I have used a German term, that is the generalized coordinate. I am sorry for that, but don't be confused with the generalized coordinate, because it is just the degrees of freedom, just nothing but the degrees of freedom, the coordinate which is representing the degrees of freedom, independent of course. So that's the thing, and the principle of virtual work is absolutely obvious. So let me once again just repeat that any dynamical system, you are going to freeze the time. So it means that at that instant of time or at any instant of time, it is in dynamical equilibrium. So dynamical equilibrium means force is equal to mass time acceleration. And over here, we are just talking about the particles or any system which is composed of many particles, irrespective of any number. So for that, the summation is going to be F, the ith particle, the forces which is acting on the ith particle, minus mass of that ith particle times acceleration, which is to be dot product with the virtual displacement. That means you are trying to disturb or the perturb the equilibrium by a virtual displacement of delta I, and their total work done of all these particles altogether is going to be 0. So from there we can get the dynamical equations as per our need. Now you understand that if this acceleration is not there, then what does it mean? It is meaning the static case, static equilibrium case. And we all know for static equilibrium cases, for a particle, all the forces, summation of all the forces are going to be 0. So it is obvious it is going to be 0. Now if from the equilibrium position, if you are going to perturb the equilibrium a bit by a virtual amount, the whole work done is going to be 0. And the force of constant are not going to do any work. With the central pendulum we have seen the example, but you just think about the friction. The normal reaction is not going to do any work. The normal reaction for a rolling wheel is not going to do any work. It is the force of the constant. It is the normal reaction is this way, and your wheel is going to move in this way. The displacement is this way. So it is not going to never do any work. So a simple way, they are not going to, any force of constant is not going to do any work. Okay? So it is just the external force times mass the acceleration. You are going to disturb that dynamical equilibrium by a virtual amount of delta Ri, the position vector, and in doing so, the work done is going to be 0. This is what is the principle of virtual work is going to mean. So it is just make my topic instead of common sense. Yes, of course it is a common sense, but essentially we studied the principle of virtual work. The principle of virtual work. Now there is a word of caution, is that whenever you are using, look carefully, just you remember we have erased that part. Your position vector could be defined in many ways. For simple pendulum, think about it. We can represent it as x and y. You can give virtual displacement on this, keeping the constant same. But if you do so, you are going to get an equation in terms of x and y. But please keep in mind that if you are going to do, you might be misled with two equations, which is wrong, because you are forgetting that there exists a constant. The constant is square root of x square plus y square is equal to l square. So it is always wise enough to represent any this equation form, this delta Ri, in terms of generalized coordinate or the degrees of freedom. So if I am going to go for 2 degrees of freedom or 3 degrees of freedom, what I am going to do is that I will be at first identifying the generalized coordinate or the degrees of freedom coordinate. Okay? So over there I am going to give the virtual displacement along the generalized coordinate. If I am going to give the generalized displacement in terms of the virtual displacement in terms of the generalized coordinate, then it becomes independent. For give a simple example, let's say let me erase this part. I think it's been done. Let me erase this part. So let's say you have your degrees of freedom, just a number, let's say 4. And you have identified the generalized coordinates as x1, x2, theta 1 and theta 2. So the thing is that your position vector r you have to represent as n tuples of this. That becomes a vector. Are you understanding? Now instead of that, if you are going to use any coordinate system other than the generalized coordinate or the degrees of freedom coordinate, look over here, I have used only 4. All these 4 coordinates are linearly independent. Okay? But there could be other, let's say x1, y1, z1, these, there are 6 such things. And there are 2 constants are going to come. So if there are 6 such representation in terms of coordinates are there, and but keep in mind there will be 2 constants. So they are not linearly independent. Which are linearly independent is this. Now if you are going to make this form of this equation, then you are going to get the 4 equation, meaning that you are going to get, let's say this is my 1 equation, I am going to get only one such principle of virtual work equation, and over there each and every term of this is going to be 0 because this delta Ri is independent. Okay, arbitrary and independent of other. That means delta of x1 is entirely different than delta of x2, then entirely different from delta of theta 1, delta of theta 2. So they are linearly independent, so and arbitrary. As such, the one equation, this equation, is going to give you 4 such equations. Let's say this is the one equation. After that, you are going to get the second equation. After that, you are going to get the third equation. After that, you are going to get the fourth equation. And combined together, that means this equation is obviously going to come with delta of x1 is equal to 0 dot delta of x1, it is going to be x1, delta of x2 dot is going to be 0. This term is going to come as delta of theta 1 is going to be 0, delta of theta 2 is going to be 0. So as this x1 and altogether their plus is this equation. Their plus is this equation. So as such they are linearly independent and arbitrary. So this term is going to be 0, this term is going to be 0, this term is going to be 0, this term is going to be 0. So we are going to get 4 equations. And why these 4 equations are needed? When you are going to solve these 4 equations, you are going to get the complete dynamics of the system in any time. That means you are going to predict the velocity and the displacement. Okay? I think with this I am going to conclude today the dynamical case and of principle of virtual work for dynamical case. And if you have studied, I don't know whether you have studied or not, because this is one-way communication. So if you have studied the principle of virtual work in your engineering mechanics, but if you have solved for the static cases, so static cases is just a special case of dynamical case, only this time is not going to be there. So please have a look. If you have not studied, then from the NPTEL lecture from IIT Guwahati, I can share on a simple slide. I will be sending it to you for the static cases. I think if it is understandable to you, then there is no such thing is required. But as a supplementary thing, you are going to get the handout for the static case. Keep in mind. For dynamical case, if you want to know more, then please follow the Meyerowitz book, whatever is prescribed in the your course course curriculum is the Marevich, analytical dynamics by Marevich or something. Okay, so that's it, and tomorrow we'll be solving a few static problem and dynamic problem. Okay, so with this, I'm going to thank you all. Thanks. Okay, bye. Madhuji. Okay, thank you.